Hey there, boys and girls. The YouTube world made another poor financial decision. I've never owned a Divco. I think it's Detroit Industrial Vehicle Company. Check this thing out. DB already got her all pressure washed. This thing had been sitting in the trees for many years. It was on Facebook Marketplace. It was 1, 2, 3, 4 price, so I made him an offer, made a deal. Drove into Minnesota about, I don't know, 2.5-ish hours from here. Got this thing picked up. The place that I got it from, the guy used to be a butcher on that farm, and he was storing meat in this thing. They had the compressor hooked up to 110 volt and used it as a cooler to keep meat in. So it's pretty cool. They were using it that. And the guy that I got it from, his father-in-law, remembered this exact truck being used. So let's take a look at it. And I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. I just bought it to say that I had one, I guess. So price and availability in the video description, because I really don't need it. Unfortunately, couldn't find a lot of information on the cloverleaf dairy. There's a lot of cloverleaf dairies throughout the United States, one in the Pella, Iowa area. But the one that we're referring to was bought out by Kemp's in the 1990s, and we did find some information on them, and the original building still exists in downtown Minneapolis. So she's got the 20s on the back with the diggers, 750 20s. Cloverleaf milk. I've never heard of that. I don't know if they're still in business or not. We'll have to do a little research. They made these Divcos for a long time, and they were essentially the same vehicle. We interrupt your regularly scheduled shenanigans to bring you this Mortske Minute. This Mortske Minute is on Divco, the Detroit Industrial Vehicle Company. Divco was started when chief engineer at the Detroit Electric Vehicle Company, George Bacon, wanted to put a gasoline engine in a vehicle manufactured by an electric vehicle company. That went over like a fart in church. So in 1926, George left the Detroit Electric Vehicle Company and started Detroit Industrial Vehicle Company, or shortened up for Divco. And the reason that he wanted to go with an internal combustion gasoline engine over electric for improved range and cold weather performance. Divco started off pretty slow, and during the Great Depression, they were bought out by the Continental Engine Company, who was providing them engines. They were then acquired by the Twin Coach Company in 1936. And in 1937, they came out with the Model U. They would use this same Model U until production ceased in 1986. The only other vehicle that was produced that ran as long as the Divco, or longer than the Divco, I should say, was the Volkswagen Beetle. Now, the Divcos were the Cadillac of multi-stop delivery trucks, and that was because they had foot and hand controls. They could be operated seated or sitting. So they had hand controls for the throttle and the clutch and the brake, so you could operate when they were standing, unlike a traditional automobile. In 1957, they merged with the Wayne Works Company of Richmond, Indiana. And it was during this time, from 1959 through 1961, that they built the Divco Dividend Bus. Now, most Divcos were known for dairy deliveries, but they were also used for laundry, bakeries, and even the local newspaper routes used them. 1940 saw the introduction of the first refrigerated and insulated units. Before that, the products were covered with ice and caused them to rust out from the inside. Now, there were several different variations of the Model U over the year, but they were mainly 103/4-inch wheelbase or 127-inch wheelbase, and GVWs of 9,000 pounds or 12,000 pounds. They offered several different engines over the years, originally with the Continental Flathead 4 and Flathead 6-cylinder engines. They also offered Detroit 353 two-stroke diesel engines, and the later units had 240 cubic inch and 300 cubic inch inline overhead Ford 6-cylinder engines, and even for a stretch they used 6-cylinder inline overhead valve Nash engines. Unfortunately, demand for home delivery trickled off, and in 1985 they filed bankruptcy, with the last units being produced in January of 1986. And the last functioning Divco dealership was Tri-City Divco in Rock Island, Illinois. Now back to your regularly scheduled shenanigans. Unfortunately, being from Minnesota and having sitting in the trees, she's got a little rot to her. But these things are the coolest of the box trucks. It's got the old, this door should slide, kind of like an accordion, but it's came out of the slide. The top and bottom looks like this has been fixed. I'm guessing that's not factory. Oh, how did these doors work? They got a little, oh yeah, you pull on this lever and then it slides them open and closed. but there's a latch on it right now holding them shut, so he didn't want them opening. I think you could drive them standing or sitting. I think this swung off to the side. The drivetrain's gone. Pretty simplistic. Oh, it's got the Miko lever lock park brake, hydraulic park brake. We did a little research on Miko, which is the Mankato Industrial Company out of Mankato, Minnesota. Not a lot of information out there. It was shortly changed after Miko to Minnesota Manufacturing, something like that. And they used the Miko name for the Miko brake lock for many years after that. So it was kind of neat because it's local history on the Miko brake lock. Came out of Mankato, Minnesota, but not a lot of information out there. Like anything else, they got bounced around and sold a few times, but they were in Minnesota well into the 90s. And then after that, things kind of trickle off. 6,600 miles. So it probably had 106,000 miles on it. That's a lot of milk delivered. Is that a meat hook? Probably. Cool old cast iron pedals. Glass is busted up front, but it's all flat glass, so you can get that cut by your local glass guy or gal. Manufactured by Divco Truck Division. Divco Wayne, Detroit, Michigan. Rated at 12,000 pounds. She's a 306E, 170 horsepower. It was sold by Ream Motor Company, St. Paul, Minnesota. So we did find a little information on the Ream Motor Company. It was started in St. Paul, Minnesota in 1932. So it's been family owned for 93 years. In 1949, they became the 4th Kenworth dealership in the entire world. They are still family owned, based out of Minnesota with dealerships all over the Midwest. Now back to your regular scheduled shenanigans. No passenger seat. I'm guessing there would have been some type of crates or something over here that he'd have set up for his next drop off. Was there milk women? Square tread plate for the floors. Got the factory tow mirrors. Yeah, it's got rust in a few spots, but it's all basically flat, so easy enough to repair. But this is the cool part, other than the big dent in the front end. That's just expanded steel. These things had the coolest front clips on them. Had the little push bar built in. When was it last tagged? 1981. Been off the road for 44 years. I think they had flathead inline 6s in them. I think it needs a LS or a big block, maybe a 4BT Cummins. Front axle is taken out, I'm guess making a trailer, who knows. She was unit number 11. A little rust down there in the dog leg. There's the compressor. There's the 110 outlets. I don't know if they had a generator that run that stuff, or maybe they plugged them in at night and they stayed cool enough all day, who knows. Must have been common that they got a little too much stress there, so they had to patch that up. Little hole in the roof, rust above the windshield. A bunch of people sent it to me over the years, but there was one of these that sold on one of the auctions or online somewhere that was a Hams version of the old Divco. And I think if a guy was to build one up, that'd be pretty cool, make something like that, or just sling merch out of it. Who knows? The possibilities are limitless with a Divco. Looks like we got the fuel filler in the back over here. You know, really, it's not too bad. A little more rust up top, couple of dings. Got the swinging doors on the back, and here's like the only signage on it that says Divco. You know, this is actually pretty decent shape. Looks like some containers up there, the cold hold. I would assume that's where your evaporators are at. Not really tall enough to walk around, but God, it's in actually really decent shape in here. Floors ain't all rotten. It even holds the water where DB was washing it, so I bet that was fun for him to wash out. And then I presume that this metal rack was original? Who knows? Maybe you bought it as a bare shell and then the upfitter put these in there, or whoever bought them. I don't know, but this doesn't look factory. And maybe the guy who owned this thing last did that to maybe hang carcasses from. Who knows? Anyway, there it is. Our first and probably only Divco truck. Comment down below what you think we should do with this thing. I'm thinking like a 99 to 06 two-wheel drive chassis, front end, put some type of dually rear end, LS, overdrive, and then I don't know, put something cool on the sides. The Mortske Divco. I don't know. Look at those cool pinstripes. Looks like it was orange at one point, maybe red at one point. Last version was yellow. Good grief, it was green at one point. The old Divco's worn a lot of makeup over the years. Black fenders, it looked like glass. A little red on the bottom. So yeah, comment down below what you think we should do with this thing. Price and availability in the video description. Like I said, I don't know why I bought this thing. I'm probably gonna lose money on it, but you just don't see them. I don't think I've ever seen a Divco around here for sale. They made them for a long time and just, I don't know if they got snatched up or they all got scrapped or what, but we finally got a Divco. All right, remember, it doesn't matter to get it done as long as you're having fun. And that is, unfortunately, the most fun thing to do for me is drag stuff home, as you can tell. All right, on to the next one.